Caddy here, Kate Wheeler there, and welcoming now to the studio, Jahmeelah Gamble.
Hello.
Welcome to What She Said.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Now, you are one busy lady, an award-winning producer and host for A Voice for All on Rogers TV Peel, online radio host, and presenter, educator. Wow.
Couple things, yeah.
Couple things. So tell us what A Voice for All is all about.
A Voice for All is the only show that I know of, even on TV, but on Rogers Television, that promotes disability awareness and education. It gives a voice to individuals who have disabilities, community organizations, frontline staff, and it aims to be a source of support and resource for parents.
And so, what brought you to being such a voice for people with various challenges?
I get that question a lot, and I think it has to be the big guy upstairs.
Yeah.
It wasn't in my game plan. Originally, I was going to school for business, and it was my summer passion, but I decided to pursue it, and I've been doing it for 15 years.
So when you started, though, you mentioned as a summer passion. In what capacity, what got you started and brought this into your awareness?
It was just my summer job, and I decided to go to school for it, but I've always been someone who doesn't like to follow the trends and kind of branch out and do my own thing. So I went to school, I became an advocate, I knew everything I needed to know, but I wanted to take it to another level. So since I have a passion for media and I have a passion for talking a lot, I decided that I should take it to a new front where I could promote the message better.
All right, so tell us about some of the things that you would be promoting. Are they programs that maybe people don't know about?
We promote programs for sure, and also just the basics about how to communicate with somebody who has a disability, how to make your business more accessible, and in terms of education, if you're a parent, how to understand the spec ed system. It's quite a very difficult system at times, so we just try to provide those resources for parents.
Now, you're reaching out to the general public. What are some of the misconceptions people have about various abilities or disabilities?
Well, where do I even begin with that? The number one question I get is, what is their purpose?
Really?
I've been asked that so many times.
What do you mean, what is their purpose?
They have a disability. They're developmentally disabled. They can't speak. What's their purpose? So I turn around and go, what's your purpose?
Really? I can't believe people actually say that.
What is their purpose? And you'd be surprised the amount of things I've learned about myself by clients I have who are nonverbal and who may be considered low functioning. Mm-hmm. I've learned so many things from them. And really, it's that number one thing. What is their purpose? Why are they here? Is it a sin? Why do we even get into that? Let's just think about how we could better create a society that welcomes them.
Well, I mean, you said to promote things like, how to make your business more accessible. Is that an issue in Canada?
That's a huge issue. By 2025, all businesses should be accessible, according to AOTA. And simple things like making sure that your store does not have little things in the way that if you have a wheelchair or a stroller, that your music is blasting like you're at a club, if you have certain scents that are, being put into the air, and going back to the basics, customer service. Somebody who may have a speech impediment, you're talking to them and you're looking at them awkwardly. How do you communicate with them? So things like that.
Well, we had Carlene Nation,
yes.
our former colleague at CTV. She was in charge of diversity awareness. And it was interesting because she said, diversity, when you go out to do streeters, man on the street clips, right? She said, I don't just want to see you interviewing people of different color and different ethnic backgrounds. Go up to the person in the wheelchair. They have an opinion too. So when she was increasing our awareness of diversity and diversity issues in the city, that was one of the things that we did. And I got one of the best clips ever from somebody. And he was so excited. He said, "This is the first time I have ever been on television. I am going to take my 2 minutes." I said, "Well, you got 15 seconds, so get a move on."
That's beautiful.
So that was it. But people don't think of that as part of a diverse community, do they?
Yeah, because you automatically assume that they don't have any significant thoughts to contribute. And some of the most profound things I've ever heard have come from individuals who are often misinterpreted. Like, I interviewed a young girl who has autism, and she basically was blunt about it. "I have autism, so what?" Yeah. And I was like, "Say it, sister, yeah."
But do you think sometimes there's an element of fear, and not necessarily we're afraid of the people, but afraid of saying the wrong thing or afraid of approaching them the wrong way? Like, I think that would be the the category I would tend to fall into, where I don't want to insult someone or put them off, and then that actually is a disservice because then you don't approach them.
And I could totally understand that. Even being in the field for 15 years, when I meet certain individuals for the first time, I do have that certain element of fear, but my first approach is to treat them like a human being. Mm-hmm. That's it. And then once I have that initial contact, then I know how to approach them after that. So I've had, people who are nonverbal in wheelchairs and go, hey, they're stud, looking hot today. And people are like, he's a man.
I have had my derriere pinched by somebody in a wheelchair as they were rolling by, and I turned around ready to slap, and then realized, probably not. And he laughed. He said, "I get away with a lot."
You see? And I still would have said something to him, because I even interviewed a young guy in a wheelchair, and he was kissing my hand, and I go, "You do see a ring on my hand, right?" He goes, "I don't think he'll mind." I was like, you're a man.
But we've seen, particularly with people that are on the autism spectrum, we've seen such amazing things that they're doing with iPads. That we didn't know that people could communicate in the way that they can with that. So, technology is changing a lot.
Greatly. I have families I've worked with who have children who are nonverbal, but up here they understand everything. Now, these are parents who've never heard their children say, "I love you." And now with apps, they could write, "I love you," and then that speech device communicates that. That's huge. And even communicating their needs. My stomach hurts. I have a headache. I want to do this. That sense of independence, that sense of feeling like they're a part of something. Thank God for the bonuses of technology.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, if we watched your show, what would be some of the things that because we will be now.
Yes.
Because we like you already. What kind of thing would we be seeing?
Well, one episode we talked about sex and disabilities, because guess what? Children with disabilities do grow up to be adults with disabilities, and like other adults, they have sex. So we talked about sex and disabilities and the misconceptions behind that, relationships and dating, parents who are first-time parents with a child with disability, how do they go through those emotions, and then again talking about the school system and promoting groups like, say, Special Olympics, having the athletes come on and say, "This is why I'm an amazing athlete," and giving them their 10 minutes of fame.
Well, in Canada, that's going to be the big subject coming up in a couple of weeks, as the Parapan Am Games will be happening.
Absolutely. But we saw the Special Olympics opening.
Yes, I saw that.
I was watching on Periscope. Deepak Chopra was periscoping.
I
was like, okay, how did this happen? Isn't it a wonderful world? Yeah, it was kind of cool. But one of our friends, Madison Teflon, was there, because she was singing. She's part of the group that's singing the theme song.
It was an amazing opening.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm glad we have that, because years ago we would not even think that people with disabilities could be athletes. And some of these athletes, they're trained in multiple sports. I could barely play basketball.
I've tried wheelchair basketball.
Oh, my arms are broken.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And, I'm a fan of Dancing with the Stars. And, what was the girl's name? Oh, my goodness. The snowboarder with double amputee.
Yes.
And she made it to the finals, I think. She was all the way through, and so able, and so, not limited in any way. Yeah. But it was an interesting process to watch someone like her on a show like that, where they're teamed with a professional dancer.
And breaking barriers.
And Amy Purdy, thank you, Cassandra, the producer, is right here. But it was an interesting thing to watch on television, because she was partnered with Derek Huff.
Yes.
And who is fine to watch anyway. For anybody.
A little hot in here, Sharon.
I'm telling you. But watching him, especially through the little vignettes they would show, and he was so cautious, because he was afraid, as like the question I asked before, I don't want to hurt her, I don't want to frighten her, I don't want, and yet by the end, you watch the growth. And
all you have to do in a situation like that is ask.
And that's what we watched.
That's it.
You
just ask. You don't approach it, on eggshells and be like, hey, is it okay if I do this? And boom.
Yeah, and so to me, that was such a great example of learning acceptance, and Amy was just another one of the dancers on the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that we did want to talk to you about is that a lot of people are unaware that there's a loss of services once disabled youth reach
about
21.
18. Yeah.
18?
Well, 18 is when you start treading. You start treading water, and then 21 you're drowning. because parents typically, for, say, neurotypical children, 18, you're excited. Your child's getting their license. They're looking at post-secondary education. For parents who have lower functioning children who are in the system, when they're 18, you are panicking. You are trying to get on wait lists. You are trying to even get a smidget of funding. There's nothing. It's as if the system's like, okay, you know what? We helped you long enough. Just stay at home. And they don't think that they have any abilities past 21. So this is a huge problem. Disabilities are not going to disappear. They're going to forever be here. So I don't know why our system here is failing these individuals.
Sharon Caddy with Kate Wheeler in the studio, along with Jahmeelah Gamble, the host of A Voice for All on Rogers TV. And we've been, during the break, chatting a little about the fact that it's really, really difficult for families who have kids with a variety of disabilities because that support dwindles as you get older, right?
It does, yeah. It's easier when they're kids. They could be in school during the day. There's TAs. There's, certain youth programs. But when they become adults, it's like people forget that they become adults, So what now?
And that's hard for parents because the parent is at a point where what can you do? Even when there are resources, you become more tapped out because you want to give your kids all you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what happens? Your funding literally dries up, there's no help. And what's the government's stance on this, say, in Ontario?
The funding does dry up a bit. There's certain organizations that you could go to and get maybe a bit of funding for respites. And then there's wait lists. There's wait lists because some of these programs could only service maybe 15 to 20 people at a time. And then you're trying to find another program, but then maybe that program does not suit your child's needs. There's this whole list that parents have to go through when they're looking for these services, and they should not be doing that. It should just be readily available. My child needs something, boom, there it is, and go to it.
Now, is there a fight to change the rules? Is there a group that is...
There's an ongoing fight. One of the parents I work with, she was ready to bring her son to Queen's Park and drop him off on the steps and go, I gotta go to work. You guys could take care of him? Okay, thanks. Because
but what
there's
do you
nothing.
Okay, so what do you say to people that say it's not my problem? I shouldn't have to fund your child, or that is now your adult. I'm playing the devil's advocate here.
Yeah,
Everybody yell at me. But the people feel that life's expensive enough. They have their own issues. Why should they be paying to support these people?
And why do we pay for roads to be smooth? We're a society, we're a community. And I don't see why we're focusing on certain issues. And when it comes to other issues that aren't as glamorous, we're like, I don't really want to support that. Why?
But I think we also have to take that stance of there, but for the grace of God, because it could be something could happen to you tomorrow.
You know
and
what?
You're part of that
I always
population.
say that. I go, let me tell you guys something. I don't want to sound like doomsday over here, but not every disability is acquired at birth. There are disabilities that happen at any point due to brain acquired injuries, through car accidents, or maybe you might just get pregnant and all those years where you didn't want to know anything about autism or anything about Down syndrome, your first child just might be born with a disability. Why do you not want to pay attention now? We should be paying attention all the time.
Now, when you're not in front of the camera, you work as an education resource facility with students who have a wide range of disabilities.
Yes.
For Peel District School Board, that's just west of Toronto. But you're also... When do you sleep?
I know.
Because you're also the founder of Ms. Jams. What's Ms. Jams?
Ms. Jam is everything. My students name me Miss Jam because they can't say my full name. So I'm Jam. My husband's apparently Mr. Peanut Butter. And
PB&J.
Yeah, that's what we are. And through my Miss Jam's business, I go to certain organizations, I do public speaking, I do workshops, I do parent empowerment workshops, and try to remind these parents that you are the expert, we're not the expert, and you need to be strong enough to help your child. So whether you need to come out and dance, whether you need to vent, that's what we aim to do.
And I have... Wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more. Yes.
You're also a group fitness instructor, and you do Empower Me Fitness?
I am.
No wonder you're so thin and trim and wonderful.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm a fitness instructor, and I realized that there wasn't, well, my business partner and I, we realized that there was not enough programs for adults 18 and over, so we took our passion for dance, and I basically modified my fitness routines to accommodate the various participants that we have. So if you're in a wheelchair, we change our whole routine that day of just to make sure that you're involved. And what we like to say is that just because you have a disability doesn't mean you don't want to look hot and trim.
Well, everyone needs to be fit.
Everyone needs to be fit. Everyone wants to have fun and come out and dance. And it gives them an opportunity to express themselves and meet other people and feel good about themselves. And we love what we do. Yeah.
Now, over the time that you've been doing all of this, do you see positive changes happening, even in small ways, in the population in general?
I do. Even with my close circle of friends, their perceptions have changed towards certain things. Even with my husband, for example, when we're out and about in the community and he sees an individual who might have typical characteristics of someone with autism, instead of looking at them going, hey, what's that guy doing? He goes, I think it's the lights that might be triggering him. So you see, like, he's even noticing it now. My mother's noticing it, and it takes one person just to make a little bit of change for it to affect other people.
We are speaking with Jahmeelah Gamble, the award-winning producer and host of A Voice for All on Rogers Television, here at What She Said on Sirius XM, Canada Talks, Channel 167. Cassandra is smiling, Sharon, so I got everything in. I meant to say.
It's a mouthful, yeah.
It is a mouthful. So let's say that you see somebody that is blind and they're waiting to cross the street, and it isn't one with sounds going on, which I still can't figure out how they do that anyway. Is there a polite way to approach somebody and ask them if they want help?
There is. You ask first and foremost. Some people's first response is, oh my goodness, let me help you. Let me help you. You do not know what that person's vision may be. Yes, they may have a walking stick, but maybe they could see a bit. They could see shadows, so they're quite independent. It wasn't a situation like that I was approaching a crosswalk, and I go, hey, just letting you know that this is, the situation up front. Do you need help? Or are you cool? I'm cool. Great. All right. That's it. When I was growing up, there was a gentleman in my neighborhood who had a manual wheelchair, and every day I would see him rolling up this hill with his grocery basket, and it just killed me inside because I was like, I want to ask him, but I don't want to intrude. And then one day I asked him, I go, hey, do you need help with your grocery basket? He goes, I'm good. I go, okay. I asked, you're okay, and that's fine. I don't have to force myself onto you, because you know what? A lot of times they hate that. Yeah. They hate when we just force ourselves onto them.
So just be polite.
Just be polite.
And just ask.
And ask really, it's no different than, I know when I had when my kids were very small, and I'd be at the grocery store, and one's crying and on my shoulder, and the other one's grabbing at my hand, and I've got a cart full of groceries, and if someone came up and said, "Can I help you?" I'd appreciate it. And I'd say,
right.
Yes,
here,
please.
Take my kid, please.
I took the groceries.
I saw a mom on the street whose son was having literally a meltdown on the street, and she was signing to him. So I went over to her, and I asked her in sign, do you need help? And she signed to me, no. And I go, cool, okay. But I showed her that, I could help. I didn't have a sign that goes, hi there, I help people with disabilities. Yeah. I'm a person who notices that someone needs help, and I was comfortable enough to go.
So it's important, though, that people with disabilities are not invisible.
Right.
Because that tends to be the case.
It's always the case. It's always the case. I've gone to certain places and I blatantly see how they're just disregarded. And I go, we're in 2015. We're not in 1926. Like, why are we so behind? And I would hope that with what I'm doing and what other advocates are doing, that we are helping others realize that they are people first and foremost, and we should address them that way.
Now, are there any countries, any cities that are doing a much better job than we are?
You know what? I'm so glad you asked that. 2 years ago, I went to St. Lucia, and I went and I visited a vocational school that's all for students who have disabilities. And there was a few gentlemen off the cruise ship who just came and decided to volunteer for the day, and he looked at me and he goes, it must make you so sad. And I go, what? What should make me so sad? He goes, well, how behind they are. They're a third world country. They barely have anything. It must really make you feel bad. I go, actually, these kids are running laps around my students back home. When I went to that school, they were doing their printing, and I remember this one boy, his printing was so sloppy, and the teacher goes, "No thanks," erased and said, "Do it again." Well, back here, you printed. Yay! No, they have higher expectations back in those countries. They believe in them, and they push them harder because they have to prove themselves 3 times more than in other places.
But we tend to do that even with every kid. We
I think
celebrate the award for everyone. Everyone's the winner.
The participation rhythm. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that I mean, self-esteem, I think, is an important issue, and we should have self-esteem. But I think we've gone over the top.
Yes.
On promoting this. I mean, when my daughter's school said they weren't posting the honor roll because they didn't want to upset the kids that didn't make the honor roll, I blew a gasket.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
It's like, so you can't even, and I think if you've made the honor roll, then that's great.
You should be celebrated.
And you've got to learn how to be a good loser as well.
You know
and
what?
you have to be inspired to reach harder the next year if you want to be on the honor roll.
Even working at school, Miss Jam, I'm being bullied. How are you being bullied? Well, they're not letting me play basketball. Well, they don't have to let you play basketball. It's not bullying. It's life, kid.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna meet people who don't want to play with you. And I've said that to some of my clients who are higher functioning. Go, listen, there are going to be people out there who are going to underestimate you. Not everyone's going to lay out a red carpet and go, "Oh, you have a disability. Let me be understanding." Be prepared for the sharks and know how to swim around them. You know.
That's important messaging.
Absolutely. All right. Well, tell people how they can get in touch with you. You have a website, or
I have a website, www.missjam.ca. You could also find me on Twitter at MissJamPCCS, and I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/MissJamGamble.
And she has time to do all of this.
MS. No MISS. MS. That's me.
Ms.
Yeah, I have time.
Jam.
She does all those things and keeps up her social media.
Yeah, I don't have a social media manager. I find that a little bit awkward. I like to do my own
Look
thing.
at you go.
Yeah, really. Thank you. Jahmeelah Gamble, thank you very much for coming in and telling us all about A Voice for All, and we need more people like you, but I suspect we're not going to find that many with this much energy.
I know. You are an inspiration.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much for joining
it.
us.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.